ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, any questions, clarifications on what we have done up to now? We just started the 12th chapter, right? Okay, 12th chapter. Where are we? Yep.
Swamiji, I have a doubt.
Yeah, please shoot.
You talked about the two broad categories of contemplation and worship. So worship means rituals, whatever we do.
Yeah.
You refer to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So any form of worship, it's a puja, a havan or a homa, all that will come as worship. Contemplation is meditation, nididhyasana. Again, contemplation will move into two groups. Preparatory meditation, owning up meditation for our purpose. There are thousands of different types of meditation, energy work, etc. But we'll focus on two main types. Preparation, which we did in the 6th chapter, a lot of it, and owning up after you have listened enough. So we'll come back to that meditative aspect, because we are with 12th chapter, 2/3 of the Gita is over. Okay. So you all should be having some pretty good insights by up to now. So how do you own up all that? We will come. And of course, those of you here who want to study more, we can take the class ahead to the Upanishads, Gita, etc., etc. Okay.
Swamiji, one more thing.
Yeah.
I have been having this doubt for some time actually.
Yeah, sure.
What exactly do we understand by having a samabuddhi? I mean, it's a little unclear to me.
Okay. Samabuddhi again, two levels. Okay. Many things in Vedanta have got these multiple levels. Okay. One is the simple way, samatvam yogamuchyate. That samabuddhi is having a sense of balance whatever happens in life. Things go right, things go wrong, things go haywire. You have a balanced approach to life, because Ishvara Arpanam, Prasada Buddhi is there. If Ishvara Arpanam and Prasada Buddhi is there, you will be able to take things in your stride. Okay? A sense of balance, samatvam, balance. You are like the dynamic balance. A ship in water, not the static balance of a table on the ground, but the dynamic balance of a ship in water. And a ship is more balanced when it is moving rather than when it is anchored. When it's anchored, you need a couple of anchors to keep it in balance. Whereas when it is moving, the dynamic balance it handles better. Okay? So you are moving in life with a dynamic balance. That is one samatva buddhi. The other is when you know the truth. You know that which is the same everywhere. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Yad Brahman. That Brahman which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. That is the same everywhere, in everyone, in everything. You recognize that. So the first samatvam becomes a qualification, a balance for the second one. Second one comes not as a practice, second one comes as a result of owning up the knowledge. And the first one is cultivated as an attitude of Ishvara Arpanam, Prasada Buddhi. So with these two things we have samatvam in life. One relative, one absolute. Yeah. Good questions. Any other question by anyone? Or whether Shalini herself has some more? It's always good to have questions, because questions bring out the depth of Vedanta. Okay, half the people I can't see because their videos are off. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay. So in the first 8 verses that we saw last time, he was presenting how you get into this practice of contemplating on the reality. Okay. Now for the reality, sometimes he has used the term avyaktam, nirakaram, or mayi eva mana adatsva, etc., etc. Okay. Mayi Ishware. So that can stand for, when you say Ishvara, tendency is to think of Ishvara as a form. Okay. The tendency is to think of Ishvara as a form. But what is the content of that Ishvara? Pure consciousness. Therefore, if you are worshipping, it is a form. If you are contemplating, it is a pure consciousness. Okay? Yeah. Unless you are doing a Manasa Puja. The Manasa Puja acts as a bridge between the worship and the contemplation. Okay? Yeah. All right. Then, continuing the same subject matter, the same topic, he says in the next verse, Ata chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi stiram abhyaso yogena tataha mamichhaptam dhananjaya. He says, Ata chittam samadhatum na mayi stiram samadhatum na shaknoshi. If you are still not able to contemplate on me, okay, stiram, chittam samadhatum, to have your mind resolved in me, the consciousness, stiram, to be based there, okay? Not fleeting glimpses, just to remain there. Not possible, na shakta. See, then what should I do? Says, don't give up. Abhyasa yogena tataha mamichhaptum dhananjaya. Mam aptum ichchuhu he dhananjaya. If you are one desirous of gaining me, desirous of knowing the truth, desirous of recognizing your abiding identity with Ishvara, if you are desirous of that, then, hey Kaunteya, Abhyasa Yogena. Take to Abhyasa Yoga. ये नया योगा क्या आ गया इधर? What is this new yoga now? Bhakti, karma, etc. we have heard. Abhyasa means repetition. Committed repetition. Keep trying. You never meditated in your life before, and the first time you are trying, naturally the mind will not be able to do it. So what do? Give up. ये मेरे से नहीं होता है. Everything is possible. Everything requires a little bit of effort and sticking to it. Sticking to it. Anything in life is like that. What is not like that? Do you know how much of effort you put in to learn to walk? How many times you fell down? You may not remember your own struggles. That's why you all become parents. So you will see your child struggling. And you will know, oh, Baba, maybe aisa kiya hai. I also went through the struggle a long time ago. That is Abhyasa Yoga. The child doesn't give up, thank God. Otherwise, all of us would have been crawling on all fours. You look at a kid, with what single-minded pursuit the kid will pursue something. Especially when you have said no. I brought up 2 pairs of nephew and nieces, I know what it is. So the kid is a great abhyasi. You know, in Kerala, since we are talking about the Vedic Wisdom Festival also, a Kalari practitioner is called an abhyasi. If you say abhyasi, you know he is Kalari practitioner. But though abhyasi can be anyone, anyone who practices anything can be called an abhyasi. But there is nothing like martial arts to be an abhyasi. Why? You see the end result. The hand that can go through bricks and wood and everything. How much of practice, sweat and blood and tears have gone behind that? Simple. How often do you practice? 3-4 times a week at least. Without that, can you call it practice? Once a week is not practice. Once a week is keeping in touch. 4 times is practice. 5-6 times is very good. How many times? Not much. Only 500 to 1000 punches a day. Each practice session. That's all. Not much. 500 punches? 10 minutes? हो जाएगा. I'm not joking. Can try it out. Even now at my age and this. Time me 500 punches, 10 minutes I will do. I am not scared of a man who knows 1,000 different punches. I am scared of a man who has practiced one punch 1,000 times every day. Bruce Lee said that, okay? So, abhyasa yogena, if that is what it takes, then you can try meditation for a few days and push yourself. Keep trying, keep at it. Why keep at it? Okay, meditation involves a knack of being with yourself. A knack of being with yourself. Actually, you are with yourself all the time, no? But we have moved away in our thinking. We are never really with ourselves. We are all the time with something or the other. Thinking of something or the other than us. So we have to redevelop this knack of being with ourselves. That's the preparatory meditation. Once you have gained that, half the battle is won. And how does a knack grow? A knack is something like cycling. Balance on a cycle. How do you get balance on a cycle? You remember how you learned cycling? An elder brother, sister or friend or someone said, okay, I am holding you, please pedal. Yeah. Pedaling does not give you balance. Pedaling, the karma phala is to go forward. And then he runs along with you, holding the back of the cycle. And you are pedaling away. And says, okay, now I am going to leave, all right. Look straight, hold the handlebars, don't shift this side or that side. Say, yes, yes, yes. And then what happens? You fall. Invariable. And the guy comes and asks you, why did you lean to the left? I didn't lean, the whole earth moved. But after some time, what happens? You stick to it. If you give up at that stage, finished. You'll never learn cycling in your life. After some time, what happens? The knack of balance you have developed. You are always in balance. Whether you're holding on to the handle, not holding on to the handle, singing a song, talking on the phone, all that you can do. Why? The knack of balance has grown on you. Similarly, when you meditate, keep at it for some time, abhyasa yoga, the knack grows on you. After that, you can always be in meditation. Yeah, Adi, you have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about meditate on myself, or I want to think about myself. So whenever I start with my professional world or some personal thing, and it doesn't end in the time what I have kept of myself. So is it like, okay, it's a part of it, probably for a couple of days it will be, and then I will slowly come to that, like, or should I start saying that, okay,
start with the process we said, remember? First relaxing the body. See, these are all preparation that help you. Start by relaxing the body so that you are awareful. In that, being awareful of the body a little bit, you are already withdrawing from the world. Then you are paying attention to your breath, quietening your mind further. Then you are doing a manasa puja, invoking that bhakta out of you. Not the flippant character. Not the one who wants to crack a joke all the time. No, I am a guy who cracks the joke all the time, but still, that flippant character is not necessary. So you get that bhakta out of yourself. Then do that japa dhyanam, again preparation. Focus on the silence. Then from the silence to move into the reality, like this.
What happened is like when I did, I found it like it's a very good ecosystem to think about the problem which I was trying to solve on the professional side of it.
Okay, that means the problems are demanding your attention. So there are two ways of doing it. If the problems are pretty serious in your life, okay, then you can say, all right, let me handle the problem right now. I'll sit down and meditate. Let me spend some time thinking on the problem. Come to some sort of resolution and then go back to meditate. Or tell yourself, problems will always be there. This is only 20 minutes. I will deal. I promise that I will deal with these issues after I finish the meditation. Make that commitment to yourself that I will deal with it after I have finished this 20 minutes of meditation. Then the mind will allow you to be with the issue. Because it is true, in a quiet mind, problem solving is easier. Yeah. So when you quieten the mind, naturally the subconscious will throw whatever is there. Na? And what is there is some professional issues. So that will be thrown up. Professional issues, personal issues. Okay.
Right.
Your fight with your in-laws, outlaws, etc. All that will throw up. I mean, it is natural. It is natural. Unfulfilled desires. Fulfilled desires, the memory of the... all this will throw up. The mind plays tricks on you. The mind will play all these tricks on you. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the game. But to learn to handle that mind and to see through the games of the mind. It's only when you sit for contemplation, you'll find your nose is scratching, back is scratching, everything is scratching, isn't it? Otherwise, nothing. What happened now suddenly? This is what we call as somatic reactions, actually, if you want a technical term. The mind is throwing up tricks.
Yeah. Suddenly feel hungry.
Yeah.
Or you feel like...
Okay, try it out and see.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, this is it. Therefore, Abhyasa Yogena, with the yoga of practice, repetitive practice, committed repetition, not mechanical repetition. Okay? Not mechanical repetition. Like the martial artist which throws every punch with meaning. Okay? Similarly, the merit has to be with meaning. Committed, not mechanical. Yeah, I think Shalini wants to ask a question.
Yes, Swamiji, my biggest hurdle is the sound. You know, even when I think that I am quite calm and settled, but slightest of noise, even a distant noise, it distracts me so much. I don't know how to deal with it actually.
Okay. Remember when we did meditation, I pointed out something. The sound will enter you as a thought. The thought comes up in awareness, dies down into awareness. Correct? So when you hear a sound, you say thought. Rising up in awareness, going down. What am I? Pure awareness. That is coming, it is going. Are you getting the idea? It's coming, it's going. I am the same. You witness. Yeah, you witness. Okay, good. That means some people are really trying to do it and putting it into their lives. That's good. Yeah, that's good. All right.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
Pranam.
Yeah.
I'm not able to go beyond 15 minutes. I mean, when you say 20 minutes, so I see the time when I'm starting, but with all the calming exercises, of course, Manas Puja is one thing that now you reminded, but when I come out of it and I feel quite okay, I see it is only 15 minutes.
That's okay.
But I don't know whether that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Because the depth of the silence that you go into is more important than the length of that silence. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now here comes a character. This abhyasa is also difficult. Okay. Abhyasa is also difficult. It requires a lot of time and commitment here. Obviously, he is not like my students, okay? Okay, obviously, it's not like that. Even abhyasa is difficult. Okay, I have something for you. Okay. Abhyasepi asammartosi mat karma paramo bhavah madartamapi karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. All right. So leave that contemplation for something. It is obvious that even if you can't practice, keep repeated attempts at it, it's obvious that too many responsibilities, etc., are filling up your mind. The world is calling. Says, where are you? Why are you sitting in meditation? We are all here. Therefore, he says, Abhyasepi asamartaha asi. If you are not capable of doing this repeated practice, mat karma paramo bhavah. Ishwararpana buddhi. Leave out prasada buddhi for the time being. You are focusing, you are grown up enough, you have become mature enough to focus only on your responsibilities, not desires. Okay. Madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Live a life like that. You are focusing only on your duties and responsibilities. Not desires you have grown out of. You are at that level now. Okay, you are at that level where desires don't matter much to you. हाँ मिला तो ठीक है नहीं तो ठीक है, that type of attitude. If you are at that level, बस ईश्वरार्पणम. Obviously, what will disturb you from meditation? Something in the world only, na? Something with a relationship to your roles only, na? What else is going to disturb you? Nothing else is going to disturb you. Ishwararpana buddhi, live like that. Everything offered to Ishvara. अभी मेरा क्या है? A lot of problems at work. I do my best. Ishwararpanam, give it to Ishvara. It's Ishvara's problem. Chalo. I am nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. We saw that in the last chapter. I am a nimitta in Ishvara's hands. I'll do. Bas, ho gaya. Then that mind will settle down. And if the mind settles down, back to Abhyasa Yoga, back to meditation, all that. Swamiji, such bolu. I am not at this level. I have too many desires. Kya karu? Kya karu? It is not easy to get rid of desires, okay? It is not easy. See, you can manage your desires. You can grow out of your desires. How many desires have you grown out of? If you look back into from the time you are aware of desires to now. How many changes, for example, take a simple thing. Your diet, how many changes have you made? You will eat the sweets, the same amount of sweets you used to eat as a kid. You may love the sweet the same like I do, but you don't eat the same. You've given it up, isn't it? You've grown out of it. No, thoda bas ho gaya. Grown out of it. How important was those marbles to you? Those tops, those dolls. Forget dolls, I want a baby. Forget the balloons. I am into the share market balloon now. How many desires have we given up? We have grown out of. But some desires you grow up as yes, grow out of it as naturally, as a process of socializing, as a process of living. Okay. Some request paying some attention. Okay. Some request attention. Because we are good at replacing desires. As I said, from the doll to a baby, From the balloons to the share market balloon. We have replaced desires, which is a sign of maturity, yes, of course. But the response to them is the same. Balloon burst, I cry. Do you know how many share market players actually cry when their shares go down? Now, I have a friend who's a chartered accountant. He has got his office very close to the share market. So, sometime before class, I'll drop in and say hi to him. Those days when I used to, those days, okay? 1.5 years I have not had a class in town. So, those days. So, I used to drop in before and meet him. And we used to go to the coffee house to have a cup of coffee. That side of town, only coffee house gives you good coffee. And I'm sitting down and watching all the guys there. Some characters are bragging about the kill that they made in the market. And some people are in tears, literally in tears. Why? बहुत लॉस हो गया. क्या बेच डाला क्या? नहीं, बेचा नहीं है, लेकिन बहुत लॉस हो गया. It's a notional loss. Unless he sells it, there is no loss. His particular share dropped in value on the market. He bought it at 100 rupees, 10 rupees face value. It went up to 500 rupees. Arey, profit mera. Not really, it's only on paper. Unless you sell it, it is not your profit is not yours. Then from 500 it dropped to 300. Arey, loss ho gaya. You bought it at 100, you are still making profit. Human mind. Kate kanta dhanagata chinta vartula kim tava nastini yanta. Shankara sings in Bhajagovinda. What is this worry about your partner in life and dhanagata chinta, etc.? Why? Do you not see an Ishvara's order at play? Yeah. What goes up has to come down sometime or the other. And my commanding officer, who also used to look after the naval aircraft, would say, what comes down better start flying again. 50 years ago, we are in the thick of it. We are in the thick of it, okay? We are in the thick of it. Some of you know Commodore Sunil Rajendra. I think Shaboni and all will know. Shaboni, Lalita and all will know. Sunil Rajendra. There's a big article about Admiral Nanda in yesterday's paper. Yeah. I mean, we made history, okay? I saw it all happening. Okay? I was a kid, but I saw it all happening. Kid? No, I did a man's job. Yeah. Yeah. So, Ishwararpanam, and I have desires. All right, here. Okay, then what is the solution for that? Atha etadapi ashaktosi kartum madhyogam ashritah sarva karma phalatyagam tata kuruyat atmavan. He says, Atha etadapi ashaktosi. Only Ishvara Arpana Buddhi you cannot do. Why? इंसान हूँ, थोड़ा इच्छा तो है ही है, क्या करेगा? We have. It's like I saw a nice dialogue between father and daughter. Father telling her, why do you want to do all these things? And the daughter saying, Daddy, you can say all that. You're 60-year-old. I am only 25. I have a lot of desires. I want to fulfill all of them. Nothing wrong. The daughter is right. It's okay. So I gave a wink to the father and said, Champ, have you fulfilled all your desires? No. Age is no guarantee for fulfilling all your desires anyway. Yeah, therefore, again Shankara paints a beautiful picture. Okay. Angam galitam palitam tundam vruddho yati grahitva dandam. All hair has become white. Mouth has become toothless. The old man is going, grihitva dandam, holding a stick to keep himself upright. Tadapina munchati asha pindam. But that huge bundle, that load of desires, he has not grown out of. Because that growing out will not happen unless you pay attention. And what is the attention you pay? Here it is. Etadapi ashaktosi. Then, kartum madhyogam ashritaha. Do what you have to do to fulfill the desires, keeping my yoga in view. What is that? Sarva karma phalatyagam. Tatah kuru yatatmavan. Hey yatatmavan. Put in all your efforts. But karma phalatyagam. Karma phalatyaga is a technical expression, not to be taken literally. You are not giving up the fruits of action. If you are giving up the fruits of action, why are you doing the action in the first place? It is prasada buddhi. You are willing to accept the result, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is, you are willing to accept. In the very decision to accept the result of an action, you have become bigger than the desire because you are willing to accept the non-fulfillment of the desire. Through a particular course of action. You may want to repeat that action or do something smarter. That's okay. Therefore, prasada buddhi. Karma phala tyaga is a technical expression to be understood as prasada buddhi. Very many people, books, etc., take it literally. Giving up results of action. Giving up results. How are they going to give up the result of action? I wish I could give up some of the results of my action. All the stupid things that I have done. Result has not yet come. All the wrong things I have done. How can you give it up? It's standing in your account, will come up at the right time. Your baby, you get it. Yeah. So baby will come to you. You can't give up karma phala. Acceptance, good, bad, ugly, whatever it's accepted. Karma phala tyagam literally implies prasada buddhi. It also implies Ishwararpanam. Okay, Ishwararpanam and prasada buddhi together, the whole karma yoga. Because karma yoga is the basis, remember this always. Karma yoga is the basis for contemplation. Because it's in karma yoga that you are managing your mind. You are managing your desires. Your desires can run haywire. Here is well managed. You are fulfilling your desires. Of course, you are human being. Only human being can desire, no? A cow cannot have a desire to eat a cutlet. It will eat only grass. You and I can have a desire. Yeah. Because the glory of a human being to desire. Therefore, use that glory wisely. Desire in harmony with your priorities and function with Ishwararpanam and Prasada Buddhi. Once you do that, mind is taken care of. Samatvam is gained. The first level Samatvam is gained. When the first level of Samatvam is gained, you can work on the absolute level of Samatvam, that which is the same everywhere. Therefore, the basis for meditation is laid in Karma Yoga. People don't want to do Karma Yoga and straight away jump into meditation. That's like in martial arts, he doesn't know how to stand, but he wants to wield the sword. He'll end up chopping his own leg. Yeah. So the base for the whole thing is living a life of Karma Yoga. Because if you have lived a life of Karma Yoga, mind balanced, that dynamic balance you have, then to quieten that mind. It's already balanced. You just have to quieten it. Thoda japa dhyanam etc. will work. Meditation is not a very complex issue. You take care of your ragadveshas, meditation will happen. your mind is automatically contemplating. Yeah. Because you're taken care of raga dveshas, abhi kya hai? What is there to disturb? All that you're disturbed by is this only, na? Raga dveshas, or the habitual pattern that your mind has got of running all over the world, like a headless chicken. That's why you live by your priorities. So your mind is not running around here and there. I mean, life is more effective then. It's not that your life becomes less effective. If at all, it becomes more effective. Your chances of getting what you want is higher. There is no guarantee, of course. That's where Prasada Buddhi comes into the picture. Because there is no guarantee, you can be worried about it. You can overthink about it. Prevent that, Ishvara Arpanam Prasada Buddhi. We can have Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, but we are not absolutely behind. Absolutely behind what?
Swamiji, we say we should have Ishvara Arpanam and Prasada Buddhi and all. But we are not absolutely behind those words.
Correct.
We are not, we don't have that firm conviction. Dagmaga jate hain hum log.
Exactly. And that is the issue. That will come only if there is bhakti. Bhakti expressed in life, not bhakti expressed only in a temple. See, in a temple, Prasada Buddhi is very natural, na? You go to a temple, gives you some prasada. Do you really examine what it is? Or you just accept it first? And then see what it is, whether to be eaten or put on your head or what. There's total acceptance, na? In a temple it is there. Because we are culturally familiar with it, we learn to extend it in life. There it is easy because we have some bhakti to the temple we have gone to. That means what? In life you need to have a better understanding of Ishvara. That's why the 11th chapter came in. Now can you see the logic of all the chapters? Can you see the logic that came? Ishvara, 10th and 11th, worship him in so many different forms. Add a few more if you want. He said, I am only giving you some. He said that list is by no means complete. It's only a sample survey. Invoke in whatever form you can. Whatever you can relate to, Baba. Yeah. I am perfectly fine even with non-traditional forms. Yeah. Why not? Outside Calcutta High Court, there is a High Court Ishvara. Someone put a linga there and people started worshipping it as High Court Ishvara. Correct? If you are going into the justice system in India, you better have Ishvara's grace with you. A land deal will take 20 years. The longest running case was a land dispute. It started before independence and continued until few years back. The Rama Janma Bhoomi. Land dispute. So, non-traditional form. High Court Ishvara was not mentioned in any Purana or any Veda or anything. But it's okay. Okay. After all, the lawmaker, the lawgiver, the giver of justice is the Lord himself. All these guys are supposed to be only nimittas. And most of the judges make judgments over things that they understand very little about. Yeah. Yeah. So, Prasada Buddhi and Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, more bhakti. Bhakti not as mere worship or bhajan singing or something. What invokes that feeling, that understanding based bhakti. Yeah. More you understand Ishvara as a cosmic order, the more the bhakti becomes natural. In fact, Ishvara Arpanam becomes natural. I can't talk without Ishvara's order. Come on. How can I talk? How can this make sound without Ishvara's order? How can you hear without Ishvara's order? Because we are so familiar with science, and science is nirishvara. It doesn't have an Ishvara in it. We talk about it as nature, natural selection, natural order, evolution, etc. Yeah, I also accept evolution up to a point, not beyond that. Without Ishvara providing the order, evolution won't happen. Yeah. They did a computer simulation. All the alphabets of the English language. Okay. Computer stimulation. Right? Jumble up the words, pick up a handful of alphabets. Form a few words. Keep going until you can get one book in any subject. I think Adi is very much into software. Adi, what would be the chances of writing a book like this by forming words?
I'm like, I need to revise my permutation combination.
Yeah, I know how many. To write sensible, the only formation of words, then you have to make it into sentences. Subject matter, knowledge. Evolution is like that. What are the chances? So that single cell evolved into a complex human being without Ishvara's order. Few billion years is very little. That's what the computer model said, okay, when they did this. And we are talking about one book in one language on one subject matter. Not a library of books. The world is a library of human beings. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. Ishvara's order at work. Yeah. Therefore, with this understanding of Ishvara, you bring into your life, Karma Yoga is natural. You can't help but accept. No? Yeah. Ishvara's will, that's it. Ishvara's will, etc., is a way of saying it. It is order. Karma phala is order at work. It's not the individually wishes success on somebody, failure on others. So the whole matrix is on. That's why that Matrix movie is a good movie to see, the first one. The whole matrix is on. And you want to get out of the matrix, better have self-knowledge. Yeah. But there he is not promised a Garden of Eden. The reality is difficult. Here the reality is beautiful. It is nothing but Ananda. So you have that choice. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Then Swami Chinmayanji used to say, what if you can't do this also? Abhi kya karega? You know what Swami Chinmayanji used to say? Out there is a field with grass growing. The implications are very clear. He used to tell us that, okay, the full-timers. Okay, implications are very clear. But I'll tell you what, the Hindutva tradition does not leave anybody out. Why? Those people, okay, Karma Yoga, etc. is difficult for them. All right, ठीक है. What we will do? थोड़ा कहानी बता दो ना, पुराणास है, Bhagavatam is there. So some ordinary bhakti will come up. थोड़ा पूजा पाठ करने दो, थोड़ा नाम जपा करने दो, sing some bhajans. Do that. Start from where you are. Swamiji, I don't believe in God. Why not? I believe being a good human is enough. Okay, start from that. Follow dharma. Do some little vichara into what really is dharma. What is universal values, ethics, etc. Start from there. So nobody is left out. In the Gita here, Krishna talks only up to this much. Why? Hey, we are talking to committed students of Vedanta. We are not talking here to the lay public. For the lay public, we will talk all that. In fact, you know the sadhu traditions in North, all the Mahatmas that go around in society, they will never teach the Gita or the Upanishad in public. You all know that. What will they teach? Bhagavatam. Only Bhagavatam they will teach. I asked quite a few, not one, quite a few. महाराज जी आप सिर्फ भागवतम पढ़ाते हैं, आप तो इतना बड़ा ज्ञानी है, इतना बड़ा विद्वान है, आप क्यों खाली भागवतम? अरे स्वामी जी इन लोग सब मूर्ख लोग है, कुछ समझेगा नहीं इससे ज़्यादा. Exactly what many of them have told me. Okay, ये मूर्ख लोग है, इससे ज़्यादा कुछ समझेगा नहीं, संसारी है, थोड़ा ये सब करने दो, उसका बाद देखा जाएगा. फिर आप जैसा कोई ऋषिकेश आ जाएगा, हम लोग सिखाएगा सब. Yeah, because in Rishikesh I studied things, all the advanced texts, which hopefully now I will be able to teach to a few of my students after 30 years. Don't worry, this group also is coming along nicely. Yeah. So, this is it. Nobody is left out. You go to one of the Shankaracharyas in South, for example. Okay. One of the Chota Acharyas, Shankaracharyas from Bangalore is coming to Bombay. He wants me to come and meet him. His agenda is, we should make everyone chant the Saundarya Lahari. So his manager called me up. I said, sir, you are going after the wrong person. He said, my students are studying the Gita and the Upanishad. Why should they can chant the Saundarya Lahari for their own worship. Why should they take it up as a sadhana when they are doing the Gita and the Upanishad? Oh. I said, yeah, please tell the Acharya that. I'll come and meet him, but please tell the Acharya that this is what I said. And if he has anything to discuss, we can discuss. But what I'm trying to say is, this is how they will, the traditional approach will be like this. Why? Nobody is left out. Acts of bhakti, to invoke bhakti. So if you invoke bhakti out of you, karma yoga next step is easier. So here in our classes what we are doing is, we are treating the people who come with a certain degree of respect and teaching them the Gita straight. That is the sign of respect of the teacher to the student. Why? We are not saying मूर्ख लोग है, कुछ समझेगा नहीं. We are not saying that. If they don't understand, the job is mine. I have to make them understand. We respect the audience more than they respect. Okay. I'm not saying they don't respect. They do respect, but thoda lesser than what we do. That's all. Therefore, your karma yoga is what sets the mark, the base for contemplation, etc. Therefore, karma yoga becomes one of the most important things to have in your life. Some people, sometimes some students will come and say, Swamiji, next 6 months, I just can't come to your class. It's difficult. Especially when the classes are offline. I'm posted somewhere else. I said, fine, don't worry. Catch up on my videos on YouTube and things. And Karma Yoga lifestyle, focus on that. Focus on some dhyanam. meditation and focus on this. That'll make it through. That'll get you through the whole thing. Clear up to now? Okay. All right. It's a good place to stop because the next verse, as usual, Krishna is playing some tricks. Okay. सबको नाच नचाया ना, वो तो थोड़ा ऐसा करना ही है ना. So that we will leave and we will meet after. We will not be meeting on 11th and 12th is a Vedic Wisdom Festival. Those who have not registered, please register. This is meant for those who joined in late. Okay. We will meet on the 18th. And on 18th, you'll also let me know whether you want to have the class on the 25th. That's Christmas Day. I know Christmas is not important for all of you, but the celebrations and the fun part may be important to all of you. Okay. So, let me know on 18th about that. That's okay. Some of you may be traveling, some of you may be busy, whatever. Accordingly, we will have it. So, 11th, no class, but the Vedic wisdom instead. And 18th, we will meet here. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.